CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thousands of people are expected to celebrate New Year's Eve at Lethbridge's Exhibition Park tomorrow. The 16th annual Family Fest will run from 6 to 10 Saturday night. The event targets the under 12 age group, but gives people of all ages a safe, fun place to celebrate the new year. There will be dancing, face painting, astro jumps, and more. Organizers expect the weather and mix of old and new favorites to draw out more people than previous years.
I know all the other years it's been freezing cold and snow and ice. I think it's going to be way more people this year. We had about 4,500 last year, so I'm thinking if we could even hit 6 or 7, it'd be great.
Everything except the food is free at Family Fest. And now people in Lethbridge plan to ring in the new year in a variety of ways.
You stay at home or go out and like restaurant or something and just drink and whatnot.
I'm just gonna sit at home with my daughter, watch movies.
Hopefully some snowboarding if the ski hills are decent.
I'm hoping just to relax and settle down with friends and have a great time.
Now, whether going out or staying in, the common theme, though, seems to be that people will be with their loved ones. And Lethbridge police will be out in full force both tonight and tomorrow night.
Hi there, how are you? Good, I better check stop. Okay. Any liquor in the vehicle this evening?
Officers will conduct check stops at several locations throughout the city, and they're not waiting until New Year's Eve to start the enforcement. They say for some people, the celebrations will begin tonight or early tomorrow.
The biggest key is to pre-plan. Don't leave it to the last minute. Know who's going to be your sober ride home. Know who's going to be doing those things. Make those arrangements before you go out. Because if you're trying to make those arrangements at 2 o'clock in the morning, you might be disappointed.
And since New Year's falls on a weekend this year, police anticipate the check stops will be busier than the past few years. Lethbridge cab drivers are preparing for one of the busiest weekends of their year. Most local cab companies will have a full complement of drivers working New Year's Eve to accommodate the rush. Most taxi companies do not book rides for specific times, but suggest people phone a few hours ahead to find out what wait times are like, so they know how far in advance to call when they're actually ready to go. Cab drivers are urging people to be patient since it's the heaviest night of the year for socializing.
We can just go nonstop, you know, just back and forth running people to parties and from the clubs and so on and so forth. So.
Do you guys all work those shifts?
Oh, yes. Yeah, everybody's usually out for that. It's a big one.
You can expect wait times ranging from 20 minutes to more than an hour, depending on the time of night. Operation Red Nose has already had a record year, providing more than 1,200 rides, but expect New Year's Eve to be their busiest night on record. Organizers say they could still use a few more volunteers, but need to hear from you either tonight or tomorrow morning at the very latest. You can call 403-329-2681 for details. The program has raised thousands of dollars for Pronghorn athletes. Dory Rossiter, it looks like we will be ending the year on a sunnier note than we maybe had expected.
Yeah, by tomorrow afternoon, we should see a fair amount of sunshine here. We'll also see cooler temperatures for one day in the minus values tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll start to move back up the scale. Got a cold front making its way through Alberta following a warm front, so we got very mild today, but we've had some pockets of that snow globe snow happening this afternoon in various areas in southern Alberta. Had a band come through just a little while ago, but yeah, all in all, nothing to shovel, and I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. As memorial plans come together in Lethbridge to honor 2 Prairie Baseball Academy players, fundraisers are being held in Charlottetown to help the murder victims' families. The victims of a highway murder-suicide near Claresholm are being remembered at fundraising events today and tomorrow in PEI. Tabitha Steppel, Tanner Craswell, and Mitch McLean were killed when a man opened fire on them December 15th. Shayna Conway was the sole survivor. The fundraisers are including a public skate and run. They're being held in PEI, where 3 of the victims are from. A memorial service for Craswell and McLean is expected to be held at Lethbridge's NMAX Centre sometime between January 11th and 14th. We'll let you know as soon as those details are confirmed. New research finds many paramedics are facing personal attacks on the job. The survey of paramedics in Ontario, Nova Scotia found more than 2/3 had been victims of either verbal, physical, or sexual abuse over the past year. Lethbridge fire officials say paramedics and EMTs receiving training on how to handle potentially violent patients, and they're also issued with protective equipment, including custom-sized ballistic vests. Paramedics and EMTs can also be held back from potentially dangerous situations until police have had a chance to assess the situation and actually secure the scene. But the department says that's not always possible.
Think maybe that it was part of the job, and maybe we're getting a little more sensitive that that it's maybe doesn't have to come with the job, that there's other ways to mitigate. So we're always teaching our staff about good ways to deal with patients, but it's just there's so many circumstances where people may not be acting normally, from even just low sugar levels, right, to abuse of drugs and alcohol, to neurologic circumstances that are out of their control.
The fire department says paramedics are asked to document any incidents, but the information goes directly to Alberta Health Services, so it's difficult to say if it's happening more frequently at a local level. Members of the Lethbridge Police Violent Crimes Unit are investigating an early morning robbery at a motel on Mayor McGrath Drive. Police were called just after 5 o'clock this morning to the 1100 block of Mayor McGrath Drive South. A 34-year-old man was attacked in his hotel room by 3 unknown males, but was able to get away and call police. The victim wasn't injured. Police say it appears he was specifically targeted. Meanwhile, regional police are placing the blame for a string of vandalism on the west side on a pair of young teens. Police say a pair of boys aged 12 and 13 are responsible for nearly $3,000 worth of damage overnight on Boxing Day. And they say the duo also smashed windows to a number of places, including a city bus shelter, 3 churches, a dental office, and a school. The 13-year-old boy was charged with 6 counts of mischief under $5,000, while the 12-year-old boy has been recommended for alternative measures programs. And regional police are investigating a series of mischief complaints in Coaldale. Police say they received 4 complaints of tires being slashed along the 2100 block of 16th Avenue. And in 2 incidents, it appears that a grinder was used to damage vehicles along the 1000 block of 25th Avenue. If you have any information, you're asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. A Medicine Hat man has been given one of Canada's highest honours, while 4 area Lethbridge lawyers, including the Lethbridge mayor, are being recognized for their work on the bench. Today, Canada's Governor-General announced Les Manning from Medicine Hat has been appointed to the Order of Canada for his years of work in the arts. Today, the province also announced the names of lawyers being honoured with Queen's Counsel appointment, and 4 are from southern Alberta, including Barry Broughton, Lethbridge Mayor Rayco Dodick, Robert Harvey, and Medicine Hat's William Anhorn. And after 18 years, Medicine Hat MLA Rob Renner is leaving provincial politics. Former Environment Minister Rob Renner has announced that he won't be running in the next provincial election. Renner was first elected as an MLA in Medicine Hat in 1993, but he was dropped from cabinet by Premier Alison Redford after she won the party leadership. Renner also served appointments as Deputy Governor, House Leader, and the Minister of Municipal Affairs. He says it's time to move on. Renner joins a list of long-time Tories who won't be seeking another term in office, including Ken Kowalski, Iris Evans, Ron Leipert, and Lloyd Snellgrove. The village of Nobleford will end the old year with the distinction of having the lowest net municipal property tax rate in the province for a community of its size. Nobleford's municipal tax rate actually went down in 2011, continuing a trend council started 5 years ago. Current rates for residential, commercial, and industrial taxes are about half of what they were back in 2006. The latest figures show Nobleford also has close to the highest accumulated surplus per capita. But the mayor points out it didn't happen overnight.
Well, it's taken a lot of years of planning and working with the government grants, with people keeping taxes low, good management, and the previous council. We give them a lot of credit for all the planning they've done in the past, and to bring us to this place where we can be financially responsible.
Well, you may want to take a bit more care parking your car in Lethbridge, or a photo of your park job may end up online. Trevor Holohan started the Lethbridge Parking Wars Facebook site as a way to poke fun at poor park jobs, and he says he doesn't have to look very hard to find carelessly parked vehicles that literally cross the line. Houlihan invites everyone to share their photos on the Facebook page, but says it's all in fun to make sure there are no license plates or company markings visible in the photo.
It's more just exposing the bad park jobs in Lethbridge that can happen. You know, you get people that sometimes park in a handicap zone or in a parental parking zone and they don't even have kids, or they park crooked and they're outside the lines, and just different things like that.
Houlihan hopes the site also encourages people to park their areas more carefully. And it's not just parking that's a problem in Lethbridge. A reality show has named a local delivery driver the runner-up for Canada's worst driver. 40-year-old Sly Grosjean is one of 8 Canadians who competed in the 7th season of Discovery Channel's Canada's Worst Driver. His brother-in-law, Fred, nominated Sly because he has difficulty with directions and relies on his phone's GPS system to get the job done. Half of the show's judges wanted to name Sly the worst driver, but ultimately the title went to a Nova Scotia woman instead. And ring in the holiday season has a different meaning for local jewelers. December is the most popular month for engagements, and the sale of rings is up even more than usual at one local jewelry store. Lisa Tompkins of Tompkins Jewelers says this is one of her busiest Decembers in its 28-year history. She's not sure why this December is busier than most, but says more people shopped early this year. The engagement ring sales increase up to 60% in the weeks leading up to Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Well, I mean, the season is such a sentimental season, and it ends at New Year's, which is a very romantic time. I mean, I think it would be so awesome to get engaged on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. All of your family is usually together, so it's a great way to share the event with all your friends and family sort of at one time. So I think that's why it's very popular.
And turning to the markets today, Bay Street ended the year on an up note while Wall Street went down. Here are the closing numbers for the year.